raised to the top of the sky. That man was wearing heavy armor, full of courage. Foot God foreplay. The power is on the armor on your head. Tolerance to increase power. Sharpening the sharpness it exudes. Foot God medium. A giant spear was summoned. In the palm of your hand. A powerful source of magic. Top of the sky. The spirit is lifted up, smashing straight into the pouring air. Create loops of magic around the body. Finally, the system shows up to announce the sale of the angel scene. Behind the school CA, an armored warrior with a fierce spear. As the Holy Spirit created. Just skim through, also feel the fiery power and the terrifying pressure. It's a threat to the devil. Let the strongest be careful. He glanced at his work, smiling contentedly. So this is the last one. Angel scene set for sale. Just this incredible speed of cultivation. It's enough to make me rival life. Then come back. Look at the power of the year. The fingers use sentient beings as nourishing materials. Swallowed to enhance. In itself, this way is really confusing. More than the system's increments. The opposite of life. What is the opposite path? Bright eyes laughing hysterically. Let me be the last boss. In a fit of blood, a voice boomed. It brings you back to your old state. The magic is gone. Initiation of foot transfusions, hence. The door opened slightly. Vang leaned to two. Outside is someone standing there. Bow your head and wait for a response. Until the door is opened. I said from the inside, let her in. Outsiders obey. Slowly coming in. He wears a gold ring on his feet. The image of a beautiful woman appeared. Delicate as a precious jewel. It attracted the eyes of so many people. Pink hair accents outfit credit sexy. She knelt on one knee and bowed respectfully to her master. CA school moves closer. Look down at your good looks. I look at her present form. It's hard to imagine. In the past, she used to kill the soul because of the position of the foot. With my hand gently rubbing the soft tail. Extremely satisfied, but after we implanted it, her ghost mind is much more docile. When you feel it, your cheeks are a little pink. He handed me a small bottle of medicine. Then speak up and calculate. The time for the ancient ghost to activate 1 times 1 year has come. This is your antidote. She happily received with 2 hands, thanks, master. CA walked over, leaving a question. How about 10? You can hear it, master. Half a year back. Don't I collected 10 not less blood vessels. The special physical. It's in the treasure trove now. She knelt down to continue her presentation. In addition, there are many strong competitions. Stolen by people of all races, the flower stays intact. They are also protecting the owner. He smiled and praised, doing very well. I use my sharp eyes to speak. I recently heard from under the mountain. There's a teenage girl who's 10 years old. She's extremely gifted. Loved again by the elders. If there is no negligence, probably in heaven, there's another leg. CA school knows it's AI. I can't wait to see you. The road up the mountain is pretty good. Move to a high mountain. I can see the magic of the world. It has a simple roof. The first child is standing tall. Look at the old man. Sitting still. On the handle of a fishing pole. If you see that, ask the old man. You prepare something. He leisurely stroked his long beard. Of course, you're a human. When you hear it, it becomes even more difficult to understand. Suddenly, he looked back and spoke. You're here to win CA. You take what you own. Hearing those words, the fairy opened her eyes wide in wonder. Then close your eyelashes, put your hand on your chest and answer. You've got a new form, and you haven't taken anything back. And then you're bold. But I will insist on shame and justice. The old man laughed so long. Praise, ha ha ha, when I was a child, I had this flag. The tiger is not a monster looking at them. But then his face became serious. The voice also dropped. The ghost is too deep. I still want to take the lead to hide the drug. The first day he came into the world, I smelled him. Here comes the transmission position of Tian 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 Tian. I absolutely cannot give it to someone who is not decent. He directed his words to the prophet and made a request. First of all, I know why you are here. If you want me to take you as a disciple, you have to prove it. I can get through that CA. She immediately burst into flames. His eyes were filled with determination. Be ready for any task. So how to prove it? He stood up straight. Look forward and point to the sky. It's a high mountain. And around the body are the steps that form a circle. From the ground to the top, the great elder gave the initial record challenge. Pass the CA school. Can you do it? The first child stared in amazement. That's the way of heaven. The old man next door replied, you must know. That year's school is a powerful school. In the 6th century, he founded the Tiangshong. From 100,000 years ago. Ignore all the caution. You are determined to conquer. I will definitely do it. Look at you. Smiling a smile full of satisfaction and expectation. Suddenly, you need something moving. If you see that, laugh out loud and use strong traction. You see the question. And what's pulled up? It's a giant dragon again. It reaches out and roars through the sky. Fairy opened her eyes wide. I'm amazed at what's happening in front of me. Existing in the middle is a big dragon. The golden body fluttered out of the old paintings. His eyes are bright. And the fate that people know. That's the first dynasty. The facility of nothingness. In a split second, from the dragon form, he turned into a handsome young man. He bowed his head respectfully and greeted. The office of nothingness to consult the great elder. Then I turned to look at the girl next to me. This is my master. It's been rumored all over SAO lately. Of course, God's grace is unfathomable. I see myself being mentioned. He bent over and replied to his brother. He spoke softly at the right time. The path of heaven, the path of the child. Just let you lead. He looked up and asked for the revelation. And then think about it in your head. I have heard that this new teacher seems to have enemies. With the old school CA, she seems to have some evidence in her hands. It can make the house lose face. He looks at the woman in front of him from head to toe, unaware of the first plan of the dynasty. I've had a grudge against the school for a long time. Why she hurried to heaven's path, she did not say. If the rumors are true, then the enemy is you in front of him. There is still some benefit. So he benefits. Pretend to care about the warning. Of course, you have a strong mind. But the heaven's path is dangerous. If you try, you might get hurt. It's unimaginable. Even the heart is damaged. There is nothing too bad about being late. You heard it without fear. But very consistent with his determination. We have calculated this ourselves. Don't bother the professor anymore. End words. Then he turned his hands forward to speak. If so, please follow me. You don't hesitate to move. Both immediately set off soaring through the sky. I'm looking at two streams of blue light, 6 and yellow. The people below raise their eyes. Just look at your hands and talk loudly. Look at that. That's the foot and the little girl. To save us is the way of heaven. It is not easy to lead the way, but the mouth is not quiet. Like to raise your voice, lady. Actually, from my sister's story, more or less we know. CA's actions were cruel and cruel. I don't care about your love at all. You guys, and that's the only way the animals are. The first hate, but you still have your reason. It's not as easy as you think. We direct the opposite. You should still focus on leading the way. If you have anything against the CA school, then it can be solved directly. If you come to try Rada, then this doesn't bother you anymore. When I hear nothing, I'm a little surprised. I looked back in wonder. According to the first reason, children should hate the CA school. Why, after mentioning again, have such an attitude? They both flew for a long time and arrived at their destination. I saw two people appear. The surrounding crowd was noisy. Look at the young woman who's dressed up recently. The mountain wants to fight. He is also the man of the house. That year, tried to break the Thien highway nearly 100,000 years. So far, no one has overcome him. This little girl doesn't know how to measure herself. The king stood next to me and told me, the pressure on the road is too great. Master, I can't persevere. I absolutely can't try to force myself. Suddenly from behind a sound came. It startled them both and turned their heads. I haven't seen you in a few days and someone has been chasing you. Let you be the examiner to show the SAO. So that's CA and Don Mai. She saw the two of you. He covered his mouth with his hand and laughed ironically. It turns out I am the disciple that the old man recently decided to accept. It's a beautiful, endowed embryo. That the army saw something to look forward to. Then exhort is to try foot transfusion and foot transfusion. I see you as if you see the devil. To question loudly, what are you trying to do? I am still very calm in answering. You haven't answered my question. She was upset to say that the chief minister, my brother, took me to heaven. He's not after me. I smiled and replied, it's a shame that it turns out that way. I want to check for you instead. Then he turned his gaze towards nothingness. Every word implies enough. If not, there's a cat game. Where did Ra notice me? He's hurting his ears. Liver tone CA. You open up less inside. Master, today, the great elder sister's suggestion rushed to the path of heaven. Do you still want to stop it? I close my eyes. Straight to the heart. You don't have to take Ra to intimidate me. Junior trivia. You thought he was going to put his hand in. Your eyes are getting sharper. Words are also tough. It's like threatening people are talking to me. I'll let you cover your mouth. Immediately, the air around the two men became tense. The smell of gunpowder. He was very angry at the school. Don't bully people too much. If you see that, the water comes in. Provocation does not let go. When I rape him, he hears that. I am angry with you. Just when the crowd is watching. Two people in the distance spoke up. This CA chief. It's obviously coming to town. The power of the mind is higher than ours. But I'm afraid the CA is stronger. Turns out they're true disciples. The one on the left is Duong. The one on the right is the Middle Kingdom. The heavens speak for the Department of No Mind. It's as small as losing a battle. I can do it again. But if you don't fight, the dragonfly replies. The heart is definitely hurt. There will be no chance to drive me later. So today we have to fight. As the saying goes, no one can control the anger. It's a red flame in my hand. Directly towards the CA school, screaming. I want to see. Where did you find the courage to humiliate me? The trick he unleashed shook the world. Crumbling of rocks. I just saw the upper half of the CA school disappear. A fire dragon circled from that attack. People around you see that. Panic shouted that the dragon master quickly avoided Ra. His eyes looked around, looking at the situation. Suddenly, your body recovered. Even speak ironically. This is the confidence to let you work with me. He's going to throw another shot. Then you stop it with two fingers. A source of magic. It's amazing, but it's too late. When you realize what's going on, was immediately hit by the CA school. That's why the clothes were torn and screamed in pain. He was hit hard, and he flew straight back. People who have been talking look up in wonder. Admire the famous art of the name of the local dynasty. It's coming from a click of the foot. Top of the scenery. Ghosts that are so easily broken. People just finished talking. The king slammed his body against the pillar. It caused a huge explosion. They were just looking at you. The AI's facial expressions also stuttered. The Middle Kingdom has many admirers. No tiger is the posture of the fairies. This power that we have absolutely no reason to fight. CA school is still smiling calmly and wisely. The child was threatened again. You keep staring at Theo. You just found out he's so strong. The king's mind has now taken form. Half human and half dragon. A long horn that grows on the coughed head. After eating all the risks, but still very strong mouth, the Middle States landscape is SAO. His teeth are filled with sharp fangs that are wide open and screaming for moisture. Hoa long zen fu, quack long da god. And then it turns into a fiery tornado. Fast forward to you with clear intent. He's in a rage of rage. Body full of dragon scales, sharp claws clawing loudly, trying to chop CA. I beat you here today is a witness to the faith. His eyes glowed with ice, looking straight at nothingness. Smiling with satisfaction. To see the sight of nothingness burning, the atmosphere rushed into the school CA. The fairies screamed loudly. But I haven't let you finish. I thought I'd swing my hand first. Slapping a slap in the face of the mindless office. It's causing him to lose his balance, shifting his whole body to one side. His eyes were upside down. The twisted face loses consciousness after that blow. CA school ends the blow cruelly. The king slammed his head down, beneath the broken rock, creating a strong wind blowing out all over. People like idiots watching. Nobody believes in the eyes. A slap, just a simple slap, to break the foot of the reincarnation of the nothingness department. Old school CA. Duong and Central Heaven looked at each other hard. Sweat pouring out like rain. The sky is falling apart. We see this legacy. We're not fighting. If you end up like a no mind, you've lost everything. I remember the king thinking he was 7. Now lying face down on the motionless ground. The technique also slowly disappeared. I stand next to you, rubbing his wrist and rebuking the noise. What is the system? If so, they were threatened. How can you take care of it? I have a little question next door. I asked in my voice, oh. Why did the owner not kill him? Answer immediately, though Sao. He is also the prince of the first dynasty. Killing him in front of the people's table will be a little troublesome. He looked at the people in the distance who were watching him continue. Let's go out with the no-mind department today, out of the people. It's also about letting the elders in the womb know. Just try to punish CA. One day, others. They are not in a position to compete with me. Then he turned his eyes to the boy. The smile is a bit subtle. Then you go straight ahead and stomp on the head of no mind. When I stood in front of you, then he opened his mouth and asked the fairy, help me teach that guy. Are you touched? When you heard that, you screamed at me angrily. I don't need you to worry. You just pretend to blame it. Look, I've forgotten what you said. Then deliberately get closer. Slowly bend down to make it clear. I came to Heaven's Path 8 parts. It is a condition that the elders accept you as a subject. Let me ruin your 6th century. Then look at the unconscious that is motionless. Flatly expose his evil intentions. This naive man is not bad at calculating. On the way to me. Stealthily release the news I provoke the Heaven's Path. Let the cardboard disciples come here. I'm going to borrow this opportunity to see your face. It's so deep. Tell me if I should be punished. The boy just kept quiet, but the steady gaze. Answer for you. I looked straight at the people behind me. Raise a warning. You remember me well. I was just being bullied. Others are not allowed. They also value their lives. So everyone is silent and does not dare to sin. I thought back to the original story as usual. After the nothingness department was rejected by the child fairy, will give birth to hatred. Move your feet, move your hands in heaven, to make the tribesmen see something ridiculous. Then I glanced at you. Continue the thought in your mind. The result is a strong expression. Hitting people hard in the face. Convenience also excites this brother. Take the opportunity to fight with me. CA school smiling friendly. But that drives you crazy. You're talking to yourself, but that's the direction. I like to make that fruit. Maybe now the little brain of the fairy. I'm about to be stunned. I looked up at the stairs. I don't want to fight the SAO. I look forward to your expression. Probably go to the step. Like you, it's not hard for me. I was surprised to ask you. You think I can break your 6th century? He gently rubbed first and said to me, you idiot, you have all seen my efforts over the years. If I don't believe in you, who believes in you? But in your mind, are still secretly protesting vehemently. It shouldn't be like this. Like your brother. I have to say, based on trying, Elf wants to be with me. Don't dream in the daytime. That's right, according to your memory. But when you face reality. She stared in wonder. He knows everything about the situation over the years. So he knows where we're hiding. I have no intention of killing them all. Now, I was a little confused about that year. Maybe he has his own suffering. But then, he shakes his head and reminds himself. No act so fierce, Sao. Only one word of suffering can explain it. CA school saw you keep hanging out, pointing to the high. What are you doing there? Everyone is waiting for you to dance the Heaven's Path. The little girl appeared only for an hour. Then jump up the stairs. Confront your challenges. Just set footwear. Has been surrounded by countless golden chains anchoring his body. But not because of that. Your eyes are still very steady. I will not hate you. So you start moving. The crowd below was eager to start and then start. Her legs are chained, still trying to step up. They counted 2. The higher the number of chains, the more dizzy. Who still enjoy before 8, 9. It's as if there's no pressure. Keep up the pace. Some people are straight out trying to raw pervert SAO. 10 floors of towers without any obstacles. She stepped up, and they counted 13, and then 14. 15 the chains were full of people. You can move forward and not back 1 millimeter. They see the story of only 15 floors. That year, it was only 14 floors. It's still going on. The boy's face was a little unsightly. You count 16. CA looked up at the mouth, is still smiling. That's when your shadow was on high. People panic on the 18th floor. In the 6th century, he managed to keep the year. That's the 6th year of the transmission. Bin stepped forward. You're tired up here. The light's right in front of you. She looked down at the school and thought. It turns out, that's it, the great way of heaven and earth. That you see, I can easily break your 6th century. Because you knew this early. Your body bore my core in the 6th century. There is definitely more power for you. Whatever we break, we prove. She 7 hopes to close her eyes no longer rhymes. This world, understand that your secret thoughts are smiling. There is a conspiracy inside. Soon after, I finally broke the chain. Jump straight down, no matter the challenge you're doing. The soldiers saw that and were stunned. It clearly looks powerful. Why did she leave? What did she finally think? Clearly take another step. Is to break the 6th century of trying. Feet spread fame everywhere. She let it all land next to the CA school. I wonder why I came down. Because I see you can walk a few more steps. The angel walked across your face and spoke. You don't need to worry about me. If you hear that, I don't want to worry. You make me 7. I still hold that great hope. The result is like this. She caught fire and bit her teeth in anger. Immediately turned to floss erosion. Who regrets your 6th century? Don't think you can bully me forever? She frowned again with a steady voice. Sooner or later, there is a day I will defeat you on the main road. Trampled you underfoot. The index at the top also increased to 9,200. CA school saw that and laughed with pleasure. My brother carried you. At the legend of the ancient celestial IPGIA, a Kongjuang palace building, located on floating islands, charming scenery, enchanted people. The glass is quiet, watching the red sunset behind the high mountains. Aunt Snow walked over. Ask the lady how many months have passed. Are you still worried about the world? When she heard that, she calmly replied what Aunt Snow was saying. Aphids are just ants. The heart contains nefarious intentions. Why are you worried about him? Then look up at the brightly colored sky. It's just that I've felt since coming down. It seems like your memory has lost something. But you can add something. What is it? At the same time, a tall man came forward. Your face is extremely smiling at you. A soft voice asking. You are still 7 gods. It turned out to be the successor of IPGIA Tai, the ancestors of the IP Romans. The surprise turned to the prince. The glass is also quite surprising, CA. I recently heard about the lack of owners. CA school of the school. Try to get out. He slowly moves forward, hands behind his back. I heard your sudden question and wondered. What do I have to say about that school? Some time ago, he came down looking for something. Coincidentally, I met him. Then he bent down and looked straight into her eyes and questioned her. I remember him now, but he doesn't forget. That boy raped me. Save the cup, immediately dodge. The eyes are staring at me. Try to find a reason to say something. He is also a character with CA. Ancient transmission. I call myself that young man. I'm just curious. I heard a few days ago. He is the prince of the kingdom. It's the power of the Middle Kingdom landscape. CA can't afford to be alarmed. He had a suspicious eye. Dancing and laughing happily. Oh. So why? He's seriously back in the arts. Let me tell you about the recent news from the CA. I've heard a lot. This man is a great enemy. He kept talking. People call me the Emperor. But he has the status of the ancient fairy Kaifake Emperor. Expand the land, carry the destiny. The infinite Emperor, but only the fairies are immortal. Immortality ancient foot-based realistic far. This approach has shown a lot. The glass is still listening to him. The eyes did not leave for a second. The image of the school appears. In the continuing romantic story. Now, the CA school has broken through the landscape of the Middle States. I've just been to the landscape. This distance is no small thing. Suddenly, someone entered the hall. Notice that the young master has arrived. He still fights you as before. Today, the martial arts school has gathered many people. The glass heard that. The question is, who are you? A foreigner also dares to 3 times 7 turns of provocation. Kaka? The sky turns around. Calmly answer your questions. IPMO is the first class. Among the great men by kinship. In the family. About a time ago, the family promised him 3 conditions. One of the things he asked for is to challenge the war. We are also to reclaim the place of transmission. That year, we won 7 players and injured his father. We should demand justice. You see, this is so isolating. Not this, CA. I've made it up to them. Give them a big one. I remember when they got it. It's not wrong. But it seems that the boy has been in a hurry lately. That makes the VI rise. Now go ahead under that condition. What does the president say about the system? Cause a commotion in the clan. You sound very upset. Cross your hands and scold your face. Easy to talk to, but actually, I borrowed this opportunity to do a martial arts parade. It is no longer denied. Ready to go to the challenge. No matter what purpose he has, go. The family promised not to do SAO. Move to North Korea. Eternal heaven at the palace. Huge, magnificent. Moon Ming is not lying peacefully in his electricity. She closed her eyes and thought about everything. According to the timeline, it must be great that Min Thien has come down. Even though SAO, the old universe manifests in different directions, this will become mainstream. Oppressed in the great religions. They should also build a library. To choose the disciples of the most elite forces as true fairies. Then she opened her eyes slightly. The revelation of the Tianxia has appeared. My good husband have been planning to enter the Tianxian palace for a long time. Probably because of this. I remember the time the treasure appeared. Countless hands 5 crave it. That year, the most important of the fairies. Come out once. It's so exciting. Fake powers race to steal. And then everyone was amazed. Because I can't see that anymore. You think again. But it's gone at the moment. CA school image shows up in the distance. Smiling, I don't think about it anymore. But so far for sure, I'm sure the CA school snuck out. They've swallowed the terrorist streets in front of them. In your eyes, you are always full of deceit. Even my sister took action. My good husband, I know you have forbidden magic. Vi is really sure. It's not as simple as it looks. To the end, the child also fell into the trap of being swallowed by you. Silence is gone. She put her feet on the ground. I still have a lot of thoughts floating in my head. Is a profitable flag that rips your true face apart. In this life, I will protect it. If I remember correctly, during this time, the ancient god of reincarnation has also appeared. Zoe, didn't he just walk out the door? A source of power slowly present, transformed into your beautiful outfit. Permeate the intent. The thing in his hand contains the ancient element of reincarnation. We have to figure out how to get it. It seems to be an aphrodisiac. To the mountain where the great elder lived. The sky is still cool blue. But it seems that the air below is a little bit unstable. Your eyes are on one side. The elf's eyes also looked that way. And point both looks. The school is in a very quiet place. The old man couldn't take it anymore. Then he opened the school CA. Tell me what's wrong. Between you and me, there is no need to go around the three kingdoms. When I heard that, I gently replied that it was nothing. Just to thank the elders. Only teach my sister. You understand the nature of the enemy. Should accidentally respond frankly. The genius of the fairy is very high. It's the young man who's nirvana. The old man himself will be dedicated. Just tell, what are you doing here pretending to be a good person? He smiled calmly to speak. The elder's opinion of me. It seems very profound. The body is the boss. Of course, I'm glad to see that the fairy has succeeded. One day will pass me. Not pretending to be as good as you say. You just sit there and say nothing. My eyes are on you. You feel like everything you say is ridiculous. Ask directly, if you really mean this well. At SAO in the beginning did the digging. CA schools are not easy to crack. It also makes the opponent hurt. In this case, the secret of cooking. My debt to God will be repaid. Great elder, you should do well in your own area. If you hear that, let go of the rod. He stood up. Raise your voice to question you and your fairies. The old man doesn't manage much, except for some bullshit. What else do you have? He replied. If the old man had been a good teacher. To be the boss, we also have to come and see. And then the words were so strong, they didn't respect anything. The main cause inside. I am afraid of the Lord for my own reasons. Be too harsh with the fairies. Right? As soon as I finished speaking, the sky was dark and the clouds were coming. Cover up the freshness just now. His eyes lit up every lightning that came down. The sounds of terror. Old school CA, you are questioning the old man's behavior. The genie couldn't stand still anymore. Coming between the two of you. Let my master shout out loud. Try to punish you, don't be a rebel. God is so good to me, it is not what you think. You're sweating. Let us see if the old man's face has softened. The CA school has moved on. I can't stop talking. Implying all sorts of things. My child, I think alone. How to understand that the evil world has old people. The old man is evil. Those words infuriated the great elder. Then he closed his eyes and said it out loud. For so many years. It was the first time a young man had dared to say that to me. You know you're trying to do bad things. But I can't help but say, you've succeeded. He pointed straight at the boy. Make a bold statement. If so, the old man will teach the child according to your will. Later, make it easy for them to overpower you. You hear the stuttering of existence. You seem to achieve.